1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Well, let's do a live stream. Hello, lovely people. Welcome to today's live stream. I hope you can hear me. People are joining the chat. It is now 8:30 here in the UK on the 28th of October 2025. It's fantastic you're joining us for another hour of chilling and chatting all things stained glass. Thank goodness HM Fan 2010, hear you loud and clear. Brilliant. I really appreciate that. As you know, my lovely, wonderful audience, my long-suffering audience, we've had lots of gremlins over the last few weeks, and we did have last week as well some gremlins. I came from a video, just as we did a little video introduction there just now, which is me walking up to the studio tonight. That was my view like 2 seconds ago before I just came in. And then I came back to chat and we had no sound. We had absolutely no sound. And do you know, I wrestled with it for ages. Oh, Petri's here as well. Fantastic. I'm going to say hello to a lot of people in a second. Do you know what it was? Basically, I managed to pull a wire out the back of my mic amp. And there was no registration that had gone, so I was looking around loads and different things, and it was actually something really basic like a wire out the back end of an amp. So it was infuriating. But hopefully, guys, we're all good. Welcome to the live stream. It is really good that you're joining us today. I'm going to say hello to some people, some wonderful people. First on was HM Fan 2010 saying greetings from sunny, for once, Ohio in the United States. Hi, HM Fan 2010. That's quite a long mouthful of a name there, but hello and welcome. And Jerry Z is also saying hello, a channel member. Hello, everyone from rainy Georgia. For once, it's not raining here in the UK just at the moment, guys. Sorry to hear that it's raining. Maybe it's a good thing that it's raining for you guys over in Georgia. Maybe you need the rain. I don't know. But welcome Sam Myers, another channel member. Hi, this is Sam Myers from Massachusetts, US. Hi, Sam. Fantastic that you're joining us. I can see you're also a channel member. You've joined the channel and you're contributing to this wonderful creative community along with all of my other channel members. Fantastic. You're welcome. If you're not a channel member, consider becoming one because it really does help us spend more time putting videos together for this wonderful creative community. Jessica Medium says greetings from North Germany. Hello, Jessica. Wonderful that you're joining us from North Germany today. Vicky Grahams, again, another channel member. Hello from cloudy, rainy New Jersey. My goodness, there's a lot of rain in the States today. I suppose it's the storms, yeah? I mean, I'm seeing on the news, although I try not to watch too much of the news, that there's loads of storms at the moment in Jamaica and all around that part of the world. So I'm sure it is heading your way stateside as well. Julie says hello from sunny but cold Montana. Hello, Julie Gritton. Again, another channel member. Fantastic you're here. Thunderwood Underwood. Hi from Malmesbury, Wiltshire. Hello, Thunderwood Underwood. Great that you're joining us today. Julie says, aha, I see that lovely Elliot glass is in your window. Yes, well spotted, Julie. Well spotted. Yeah, that's my pride and joy. That piece of English antique glass that was hand blown by Elliot earlier on this year. What a guy. He's a fantastic individual. He's really pushing the whole kind of rebirth of English or British sheet glass here in the UK, single-handedly trying and succeeding in reviving it and getting a lot of traction and momentum and excitement in the stained glass community for his glass, which is absolutely outstanding. And there's another drop coming down quite soon. Let me just see if I can check on my phone when it is. He's on Instagram. Elliot Walker, let me turn that volume down. So Elliot, when is your next drop? Sheet Glass Weekend, November the 29th and 30th. Are you getting that there in chat, guys? Can you see that? Sheet Glass Weekend, 29th and 30th. So basically, Elliot will be hand-making more sheet glass for sale. The live glass making demos, exclusive sheet glass drops, full sheets and half sheets, and bits and pieces of glass, small sections as well. BSMGP Lightbox Installations, which is a travelling show at the moment that is over in Stourbridge from the British Society of Master Glass Painters. List of members, associates and fellows. A fantastic exhibition on there as well. Inspired by William Morris, food, drink and creative conversation. So the Sheet Glass Weekend is the 29th and 30th of November over in Stourbridge. Elliot runs that with his partner Bethany, and Bethany as the founder of Blow Glass Galleries, which is where they have their headquarters and they do all their glass blowing. So if you're in the area on the 29th and the 30th, I thoroughly recommend that you go along and have a look at the spectacle that is glass blowing seen live with Elliot Walker. It's never a one-man show. There's always people around helping Elliot to make this wonderful sheet glass. So if you're in the area, you might pick up some beautiful glass. So it is absolutely wonderful and well spotted, Julie. Yes, I have some of that beautiful handmade English antique glass. David Jack Fenton says, what a great intro to the live stream, Derek. Cinematic. Thank you, David. Well, you should know, if anyone should know, it is you, being a professional cinematographer with a wonderful collection of portfolio videos. So thank you. It is wonderful that you're also joining us, David. I haven't forgotten about your challenge. David Jack Fenton, who I've met previously at Ely Stained Glass Museum, challenged me to create a new, it's like the Star Challenge, which if you're following me on social media, you know that artists and creatives around the world are joining in on the Star Challenge, which is fantastic. Started by Charlotte Saville, who decided to cut a star out of a piece of glass. Several attempts, as most of us do take several attempts to do these kind of things. So it is doing the rounds just now, and I have been encouraging my channel members. I put out a little channel members video just for you guys a couple of days ago. If you haven't seen it, check it out. It's requesting live videos for you guys to send through to me, and I will download them and feature them on my social medias, because I would love to big up my channel members as well. If you feel that you want to do the challenge, that would be wonderful. Now, David suggested another challenge, which is cutting a hole out of a single piece of glass. So you have a piece of glass and you cut a hole out of it, as if you were doing as if you were in a Mission Impossible movie and you were doing a diamond heist and you had to cut a piece of glass out of the, out of a jewelry cabinet to stick your hand in and pull the jewelry out. That's the challenge that David has set me, to cut a piece of a hole out of a single piece of glass. It's really difficult to do, but I will do it, David. I haven't had the opportunity to do it yet. I don't even know if I can, to be honest, but I'm going to give it a good try, because it's great fun, and I love the idea of all of us kind of joining in around the world doing these challenges together. So the Star Challenge at the moment is still live, very much live, and I had another post from a fellow creative in Europe who sent me her post on Instagram, and I will show it to you if I can find it. I just found it earlier on today. It is this one here by Studio Glass Herde, and I'm sure I'm completely mispronouncing that, but Derek Hunt Star Challenge being done, which is wonderful to see. So I will feature, if you guys do the Star Challenge, I will feature you on my socials as well, because I just love kind of, bigging you guys up and kind of putting your name out there as well. Queer Whimsy also jumped into the challenge and had some amazing results, some great traction from his Instagram feeds as well, and others have also put the star challenge up there, which is absolutely wonderful. So yeah, David, thank you for that challenge. Gramp says chilly and cloudy here in St. Louis. Chilly and cloudy. Well, yeah, it's kind of chilly and cloudy here too, Gramps. But I don't think we've got the hurricane anywhere near us at the moment. So I don't know if you must have it near you guys, I should imagine. Tegan Lee, hello from Northern Carolina. Hello, Tegan. Welcome on board. It's great that you're joining us today. Fantastic. It's sunny again after several days of rain, and we have a week of sun and high 70s coming up. I'm very excited to spend some time outside. Yeah, I bet you are. I bet you are. Yeah, we're just kind of coming into a winter season now. We're I think we're out of British summertime now. We're back into kind of winter time. And yeah, it's kind of it can be a little bit depressing for all of us because all of us love to be in the sunshine. I mean, we have a garden next to the studio here, and we spend our summers in the garden. And when the kids were small, they were just running around and, playing with water and slides, and it's like having another room to the house when you can be outside all the time. And of course, in the winter months, we can't really get into the garden so much, and so it's a little bit miserable. So we're entering into that beginning of the winter season. So yeah, we're looking for some cheerful, uplifting comments and questions in the chat today. There is no real agenda, guys, today in terms of the chat. I don't really have any demonstrations. I mean, we've got the option of maybe cutting some glass, which I will happily do. I've got a little video that I can show you. I've also got a couple of questions that I want to ask you guys in chat as well about next year's masterclasses, just to get your view on it, because your view is very important, whether you're a channel member or whether you're just a follower of the channel and a lover of stained glass and want to learn about stained glass. I'd love to hear from you guys today in the chat, whether you're watching it as a live stream, or whether you're watching it on a rerun afterwards, like video on demand. This is going to be on my channel forever afterwards, along with all my other live streams. So if you want to answer this question after the live stream goes out, answer the questions in the comments below the video. Basically, I'll be asking a couple of questions really about how the masterclasses are going to be modeled for next year, because the masterclasses this year, my glass painting 2-day masterclass has been really popular, as has the enamel painting masterclass. And quite a few people are saying, well, look, Derek, is it possible if I'm coming all the way over, as last weekend we had 2 creatives who flew in specifically to do the course, a 5-hour international flight to come to do the course. And another amazing European glass artist got the train from Belgium all the way here to the UK just to do the course. And another fellow creative from the UK, from London, came up by train. People are going to, they're investing a lot in their own time and resources to come on these courses. So I want to make them as good as I possibly can. And quite a few people are saying, well, look, we're traveling a long way to do these courses with you, Derek. Is it possible to make the courses longer? Rather than just a 2-day course, is it possible to make it maybe a 4-day course or a 5-day course? And I've always kind of held back from that because I've not quite known what the demand is, but increasingly more people are suggesting it, especially, they're saying very obviously, if we're going to the expense of having an international flight to come over and see you, why don't we make it a longer course? Why don't we make it like a 4-day course? So the question is really, chat, and I'd love to get your views, and I will read through your views. Please be vocal in the chat. I know this feels like a monologue and it feels like a one-way conversation, but it's very much a 2-way conversation. I'm here to answer your questions, but also to read your replies in the chat as well. What do you guys think about doing a 4-day masterclass? So we do a back-to-back, basically. What we do is the glass painting masterclass, say on a Monday and Tuesday, or maybe a Friday and Saturday, say, if you want to do it over the weekend. And then the Sunday and Monday, we go straight into the enamel painting masterclass. So you have the opportunity to, if you're brand new to glass painting and you kind of want to do a deep dive into the whole process of glass painting, the 2-day glass painting masterclass, say on a Friday and a Saturday, would be your introduction. And then stepping up a gear, you would move straight into the enamel painting masterclass, which I think you would be perfectly capable of doing after having completed the glass painting masterclass. Not that the enamel painting masterclass is prohibited from people who are just learning to paint. It's not. But I think doing the glass painting masterclass first, then back to back with the enamel painting masterclass would be an amazing experience for you and for me to be able to be with you for 4 days. You can do multiple firings in the studio, and we can really have a really kind of intense masterclass experience over 4 days. What do you think, guys? I'm just exploring, and I'd love to get your feedback on it because, you guys show up every week for this live stream, and I know you're passionate about stained glass. I know you're passionate about learning. What do you think? Do you think it's something that you would be interested in? Do you think it's feasible to do 4 days? I think from my perspective, it's definitely feasible to put that kind of a 4-day course on. It's whether the demand is there. So this is really the first time I've spoken about it, but I thought this would be the ideal opportunity because it's a two-way conversation. I'm here to listen to you guys and your guys' feedback, as well as sharing my experiences today as well. So do let me know in chat, what do you think about a 4-day masterclass as opposed to just a 2-day masterclass? Petri Anderson, the wonderful Petri, a channel favorite, is here today. Petri, welcome on board. Evening all, says Petri. Evening to you, Petri. I haven't forgotten about our hookup, and I think we're going to have to try and get that sorted out in the next 2 or 3 weeks if you're up for it, where you do a little tutorial introduction to using Procreate, because your wonderful stained glass designs, I know, are created on Procreate, and it's a mystery to me. I don't really know anything about it. So what do you say? I think you're up for it. I think you've said in the past you're up for it. So let's see if we can hook it up. We have to download a little bit of software so that you can broadcast directly from your iPad and everybody can see the screen on this format. So we'll maybe hook up in the next week or so, Petri, if you're free, to do a little bit of technical experimentation, because as you know, I'm prone to letting gremlins into everything that I do. So we need to do a little bit of a rehearsal before we go live. But yeah, if you're up for it, Petri, and I know you are, let's hook up and get a date sorted out where we try and get this to work so that we can present to everyone on a live stream your wonderful work and how you use this amazing piece of software. So Paul says hello from West Hampton, New York, USA. Paul, welcome. Paul Mendelowich. I'm sorry, Paul, I'm getting that surname completely wrong. I do apologize to everybody whose names I managed to mess up in this live stream. I do apologize. Ethel, good evening from Drich and Dark Argyle. Drich is a wonderful Scottish word. Drich means dull and damp, and yes, we get the idea, Ethel. Good evening to you too, and welcome aboard. Sarah, Art and Glass, hi from darkest Cornwall. Now our clocks have changed. They have indeed, Sarah, haven't they? Yeah, they went back, so we got an hour back. But yeah, it feels really wintry, doesn't it? It does feel wintry now, so we need to kind of keep ourselves in good cheer by talking about all things stained glass today. FDR says, greetings from Hungary, from an art-loving dilettante. FDR, greetings to you too. Wonderful that you're joining us today. It is absolutely fantastic. Welcome on board. Mary Quarmby says, hi everyone. Seems to keep missing the live, but have been watching it afterwards. Okay, Mary, well, you're on live today. Fantastic that you're joining us live today. Wonderful. HM Fan 2010 says, Diamond Heist. Been to the Louvre lately? Yeah, I know, exactly. Well, that's what I'm teaching you guys to do, is to kind of cut holes in glass. Well, hopefully I am. I've still to do it myself. And you know what? I may not be able to do it. I don't know. It's quite a challenge. It is quite a challenge to cut a hole out of a piece of glass. But I'm gonna give it my best shot. David says the Mission Impossible Challenge. It is the Mission Impossible Challenge. I think that's a trademarked. I think that's a trademark term. But yeah, it is, AKA the Mission Impossible Challenge. Indeed, it will be a challenge for me, and I'm sure for others as well. Sarah says, I had over 11,000 views on one of mine, but of a surprise. Did you indeed? 11,000 views. How amazing. How amazing. So you did the glass art challenge. Have I seen it? Have I reposted it, Sarah? I do apologize if I haven't. I hope I have. But do let me know if that still is out in the wild, because I'd love to be able to see it. What do you dream about? I dream about lots of things, lots and lots of things. Sam Myers, a channel member, says it's beautiful here. Oh, fantastic, Sam. Fantastic. Send a bit of sunshine our way if you can. Papa's 99 greetings from Transylvania. God bless. God bless you too, Papas. 99. And Yehudith says hi. Hello, Yehudith. Welcome on board. How are you? I hope you're well after your travels back home, safe and sound. Wonderful to spend time with you recently, and I'm glad to hear you're back home safe and sound. I'm imagining you're tucked up in bed with your laptop. I could be wrong, but welcome. It's great that you're joining us today. Rice says, I'm brand new to glass, but I'd love to come to a class, but I'm from Australia. A longer class certainly appeals. Well, Rice, that is really good to hear. That's a long way. I wonder, do you have family or friends to make that trip? You know, you could, obviously, coming over for the class is great. But one of my family members, one of my brothers lives in Australia, and I know how long that flight is. That is a very long flight. But wouldn't it be wonderful if you came over from Australia to do a glass painting masterclass with me? Perhaps one of the longer ones. That does sound exciting, doesn't it? It does for me too. I'd love to spend time with you over a 4-day period, really doing a deep dive into glass painting and enamel painting, because if you do any teaching, if any of you out there do teaching, you'll know that you learn as much from your students as you do teaching your students. You know, you learn just as much, because I love to see the way that you run with it. If I give you a kind of a general idea to create something, I see how everybody runs with it, and it's just incredible. So I learn a lot from the process as well, and I really look forward to these masterclasses where I spend time with fellow creatives, and it's like being back at art school, you know. It's just like a whole lot of interesting, exciting things happening all at once. It's just a great experience, and friendships are cultivated, friendships are made that last long after the masterclasses are over, where people keep in contact. So yeah, it'd be wonderful. It would be wonderful if we could actually do this 4-day masterclass back to back. That would be fantastic. Julie says, I would really love to do that, coming from far and away. Yeah, it would be wonderful, Julie. It would be fantastic if you could make it. Jerry Z says, when I travel to Europe, I plan to stay 45 days. I would be taking classes from you. Hey, Jerry, that is magnificent to hear. Jerry, that is really great. So yeah, I will. I'm being encouraged by the feedback from you guys in chat. Please keep it coming. Let me know your thoughts. Let me know sort of times of the year that would be good for you guys. You know, I'm kind of thinking maybe March 2026, maybe a Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and a Monday. I don't know how does that land well with you or not? Is that a good time of the year for you or not? The reason I say March is because over the last few years, the masterclasses have been very much in demand from the early parts of the new year. I think maybe people come out of Christmas and come out of New Year, maybe with a New Year's resolution to kind of like start something new, or to do the thing that they'd always promised that they would do, and that is learn to glass paint or learn to paint with enamels. So there's a big demand in February, March, April, for the masterclasses. So I'm thinking, but I'm feeling my way forward, and I'll be guided by you guys, that maybe March would be a good time to do a 4-day event. What do you think, guys? What do you think? I really would love to hear your feedback on this. Thunderwood Underwood says, I think longer classes would be good, especially for people traveling substantial distances. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I think you're right, Thunderwood Underwood. Petri says, let's do it. Chat tomorrow. I would love to chat tomorrow, maybe on the train down. I'm getting an early train down to London tomorrow. So maybe if you're up and about, Petri, we could have a chat. London's going to be an interesting day tomorrow. I'm going to YouTube, of all places, YouTube headquarters in London for, I don't know, to kind of meet a whole lot of different fellow creatives and talk about all things YouTube-ish. I'm very new to YouTube, as you know, and I make lots of mistakes, but this is the platform of choice for me to kind of connect with you guys. This is where we're building our creative community. So I need to learn about how YouTube works and how to get the best out of it. So we're spending a day with lots of meetings and lectures and things all about the wonderful world of YouTube. So yeah, I'll maybe take some video of it and show you guys later. I don't know how much I can video, how much I can, I don't know. But the most important thing is you guys, the creative community. That is the whole reason I'm doing the live feed. That's the whole reason I do YouTube, and I put tutorials and inspirational videos and, studio tours and interviews with artists. All of that is to really give as much good quality information to the next generation of fellow creatives. So Jessica says, yes, I would like to attend a 4 or 5 day course. As you said, if you have high travel costs, it makes sense to stay some days longer. Yeah, it does, doesn't it? It really does. I'm getting more confident about the idea the more I'm hearing from you guys, and the more I'm hearing from creatives who've been on the previous courses, who all say, yeah, it's something that they would actively encourage as well. So that is really good news. Carl says, hello from Bacharach. It seems to me that glass unites us all. It does indeed. Carl, welcome. You're a long time YouTube supporter of mine. You have been on for many years. I should say maybe 3 or 4 years now. Carl, it's wonderful that you are here today on the live stream. Welcome. And I really appreciate all of your support. And your comments and your supportive messages. It means the world to me. Kevin God says, hey, from West Hampstead, New York. Hey, Kevin, _God. Welcome, Kevin. It's great that you're here today from West Hampstead, New York. Rice says, sorry, should say my name is Bridget Rice. I keep it a bit quiet for professional reasons from regional Australia. Middle of nowhere. Oh my goodness. Are you the middle of nowhere, Bridget? My goodness gracious me. Yeah, Australia's a big continent. I mean, whenever I go and visit family members out there, we're flying for like 5 hours and we're still in Australia. It's amazing. It's a huge, big continent of the world. So yeah, Bridget, fantastic that you're here, and it would be wonderful to meet up with you. If you can swing it, if you can get time to do it, it would be just fantastic. Tegan Lee says, Bridget, I'm an Aussie from Townsville, but I live in California now. Wow. Hey, Tegan. Silent Storm 80 says, I'd love to learn a new craft. Well, Silent Storm 80, you've come to the right place. If you don't know anything about the world of stained glass, you've just hit the jackpot. We are a community of fellow creatives who love stained glass, and we talk about stained glass, and we share experiences, and we share tips and tricks. I put out lots of videos on my YouTube channel, which you're watching just now. This is the live feed from my YouTube channel, which is called Derek Hunt Artist. And there's loads of inspirational videos and tutorials about glass painting, how to make stained glass windows, even how to fit them. I put out a video the other day about how to fit stained glass windows into stonework using lime mortar. It gets very niche. I get very specific about very detailed things. But if you're a glass geek, you know, it's just right up your street, hopefully, because that's, you know, that's the stuff I love. And studio tours and interviewing fellow artists, fellow glass artists, asking about what their inspiration is, what their favorite projects are, all that good stuff. So welcome. Welcome if you are new to the world of stained glass. Rice says, hi Tegan, I'm in Dubo, New South Wales. Yes, Derek, I have a sister in Norway. She used to live in London, which would have been even more convenient. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's trying to kind of meet as many people in a particular part of the world that you're in. It's always a challenge, but it's always exciting as well, isn't it? So yeah, it'd be wonderful. Let's see if we can make it happen, eh? Shall we see if we can make it all work? Silent Storm says, I do whatever I can to get my hands on, but as a 100% disabled veteran in USA with health issues, it's difficult to schedule things. Okay, Silent Storm. Okay, yeah, when you can get your hands on, but I'm a 100% disabled veteran. My goodness gracious me. Well, you know, that's really, yeah, I mean, it would be wonderful to kind of find a way to make it work for you and help you along the way. Certainly, you know, hopefully the videos and tutorials that you see on the channel are a start for you. Sorry guys, I keep fiddling with my camera because it keeps going out of focus for some bizarre reason. Errol Holt says, I had a brilliant time last weekend doing your enamel course. Feel refreshed and inspired. Errol, it was wonderful spending time with you. Absolutely wonderful spending time with you. And I loved your Instagram video that you put on traveling from London on the Underground up to the studio and back. And I featured it on my Instagram page as well. Yeah, and you produced some beautiful work as well, some fantastic pieces. So it's great that you're joining us today, Errol, on the live stream as well. And please, you know, just keep going because your work is fantastic. And I can't wait to see what you produce next on your own journey in the wonderful world of glass painting, especially enamel painting. Yehudith says, still in London, fly back in a few hours after a wonderful studio days. Yeah, Yehudith, again, you were in my masterclass last weekend, which was amazing, and it was wonderful to spend time with you. I'd forgotten that you were still in London. I thought you might be home by now, but you're still in London at the moment. I wonder, have you managed to get some bits and pieces? You were going to try and get over to Lead and Light, I think it was, in London, to see if you could buy some Badger brushes and some bits and pieces. Do let us know if you managed to get there. It would be really great if you did, but I know it's kind of quite a long thing to do to try and negotiate your way around London to find a specific place. But do let me know, Yehudith, if you managed to buy some more brushes and things for your own work. FDR says, Derek, are you familiar with lustreware from the ceramic world? It's basically about applying copper and silver stains on top of the glaze during a second firing. Lustreware, yeah, I am familiar a little bit, FDR, with lusters. Lusters, the ceramic world is a different world to the glass world. Ceramics tend to be opaque because you're painting onto china and ceramics like plates and things like that. So the enamels tend to be opaque, you know? And we in the glass world, in the stained glass world in particular, need transparency. We need to have the light passing through the colored enamels in order to sort of be registered, because if it's an opaque enamel, when you hold it up to the light, it blocks out the light and just appears dark or appears black. So I'm a little familiar with it, FDR, but do tell us a little more about lusterware from the ceramics world. Applying color and silver stains on top of the glaze during a second firing. It does sound fascinating. I know nothing about it, and You know, I'm always the student. I'm always willing to learn. I always would love to learn new methods and techniques. And I am definitely on the lookout for more suppliers of enamels. You know, and if we can move into kind of getting supplies from the ceramic world that are applicable to stained glass, that would be fantastic. Bear in mind that the firing temperature for stained glass paints and enamels is about 650 degrees centigrade, which may be lower than the ceramic temperatures that you're firing your enamels at. Again, I don't know, but do let us know a little bit more in the chat, FDR. You go on to say the skills should be pretty much completely transferable between stained glass and lusterware. I agree with you, they should be, but it's whether the lusterware products are translucent and transparent and the firing temperatures are compatible. If you're firing temperatures that are a lot higher, you know, like 750, 800 degrees centigrade, that's basically too high for our glass. Our glass will melt. It'll just be a little pool in the center of our kiln at those kind of temperatures. You know, 650 degrees is possibly, you know, up to maybe 670 degrees would be as high as I'd want to take my paints and stains. I wouldn't want to go much higher than that, but we're all ears. Do tell us more. If you can maybe suggest or recommend in the chat, there are lots of creatives here in the chat with us who also may be able to chime in and say, yes, I've used this product or I've used that product. Because we're all here to learn, and I am definitely here to learn as well. Lucky Lex Creations, I'd love those kind of classes. Lucky Lex, yeah, wonderful. So stay tuned, Lucky Lex, because we may be putting on a 4-day masterclass event next year. Let's just see how it goes. This is the first putting out the tentative feelers just to see from you guys what your view is, and then I'll put it, maybe the question out, maybe do some polls on social media just to gauge what the interest is, because at the end of the day, yeah, I mean, I'd love to do it. Let's just see. Let's just see. Sarah says, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, can I bring my camper van? You certainly can. You certainly can. We have a glamping site here in our village, which is a very posh camping site, which does pizzas and it does all kinds of interesting things. And it's a lovely little campsite. And it's about a 5-minute walk from the studio and a 3-minute walk from the village pub, which happens to have great food and great beer. So yeah, bring your camper van. Why not? Many students who come on the masterclasses do camp. They bring their camper vans. Yeah, it would be a fantastic thing to do. EFO Ethel says March, as long as it's not between the 11th and the 20th, as I have a big birthday celebration. So any other time could be my present to myself. Ooh, that's fantastic. Not between the 11th and the 20th. Okay. Let me write that down, Ethel. 11th and the 20th of March is a no-no for you. Let's just see how it transpires. I can't make any commitments to anything at the minute. I'm just sussing things out, but it's good to know that. Tegan Lee says, question for Derek. Does multiple firings of Reusch paints affect how glass cuts? I did some abstract texture I'd like to cut up and use as a border. Anything to keep it in mind as I cut painted glass? Yeah, so great question, Tegan. Painting, firing glass in the kiln does add stress to the glass. There's no question about that. Every time you do firings to the glass, it heats it up to a high temperature and then it cools it down. And even if you heat it up relatively slowly and you let it cool down naturally and you anneal it properly, you're still potentially adding lots of stress to the glass. I very often fire my glass, say maybe 3 times, at least maybe 4 times, maybe more. And I have on occasion, had to cut the glass afterwards, and it doesn't necessarily break as well as I would like. After it being fired 2 or 3 times, it becomes more brittle, more sparky. The phrase sparky, you know, it tends to break in random ways. It's a little bit brittle and it's like, you know, breaking ice. It's kind of a little bit random in the way it breaks because there's so much tension in the glass. when commercial glass is made, whether it's handmade antique glass or rolled cathedral glass or float glass, it tends to be annealed well. If it's made well, it's annealed well, and it's only fired once, so it goes through that heating process and that cooling down process once in a very controlled way to reduce the potential for stresses in the glass. So if the glass makers are good at their job, they will have put minimum amount of additional stress into the glass during the heating up and the cooling down process. But every time you then add to that firing cycle and you do more firings, you're adding to the potential to increase the stress fractures, or the potential for stress fractures in the glass. And the interesting thing with glass is, when you bring it out the kiln, it sometimes looks as if it's survived fine, and it may break a day later or a week later. I've had pieces of glass break maybe a week later. It's strange, you know, but there's been a little weakness in the glass. There's been something that's been hiding away there that maybe a spectron microscope could see, or, you know, some form of microscope could see those microscopic cracks, but to the naked eye you can't see them, so you don't know that there's a problem with the glass. So yeah, that's a great question, Tegan, and the answer is try and get your glass cut to size before you texturize it with an abstract texture if you can. You know, you're cutting it up into borders, you know, otherwise just take your chances. Chances are it's going to be okay, but bear in mind that it does tend to put extra stress in the glass, and don't be surprised if your glass is a little bit more brittle after it's been fired, say 2 times or even 3 times. It definitely starts to get a little bit more brittle and doesn't always break in the way that you might imagine. Stella says, this was totally unexpected that you're joining us. Welcome, Stella. Yeah, fantastic that you're joining us today for the live feed, the live stream today. Notification says, what a beautiful voice, sir. Well, thank you very much. Yehudith says, got brushes. That is brilliant, Yehudith. You managed to get yourself some brushes. Fantastic. I'm so pleased for you. My camera keeps going out of focus. I'm so pleased for you that you were able to get brushes. That is really great news. Stella says, thanks. You're welcome, Stella. It's great that you're here with us. It's great that you're here with us. Took a cab and found the place. That's great. Lead and light. So I'm really glad that you found it, Yehudith. I've never been. I've got to get there one day myself. I hear some great reviews from fellow creatives who've been to Lead and Light in London. I'd love to get down there and see it. I'd love to go and visit and, you know, do a studio tour is what I'd love to do there. So I really want to be as good as you speaking English. It's kind of a dream. Well, there we go. Fantastic. So I take it, obviously, English is not your first language, but welcome on board. It is great that you're joining us today. Petri says, Sean Felix in Chicago has been playing with lusters on glass. Not too sure quite what his results were, though. Petri, good shout out. Thank you for that. What I might do is get in contact with Sean and just ask him. Because he's very good he's very vocal, isn't he, on the Facebook group Stained Glass Painting 2.0. So he might have put information out there. I don't know, Petri, if you have a moment to have a little look on Facebook to see if there's any information on there from Sean, but it would be wonderful if you could bring it into the live stream if you do find any posts from Sean Felix. Sean Felix is another glass artist who does a wide range of different techniques, working with mirror, working with gold leaf, working with glue chip, working with stained glass, working with paints and airbrushing. He's wonderfully diverse in the techniques that he works with. So I'm not at all surprised, Petri, that Sean Felix has also been experimenting with lusters on glass as well. Lucky Lex Creation says, I'm very new to stained glass. My papa gifted me his tools and glass collection in March, and I've been in love with it ever since. Oh, that's wonderful. That's so nice to hear that he's gifted you his tools. That's fantastic. I've a lot to learn yet. Well, yeah. Well, you've come to the right place, Lucky Lex. Welcome. hopefully we can help you. We can help you learn this beautiful craft of stained glass. This is what we're here for. Stella says, sorry, I should have said good morning from Australia. Good morning. Good morning to you too. It's very early for you, isn't it? I know it is. I know you're in Australia, and I know it is very early for you guys in Oz. Let me just see if I can find myself. Oh, sorry. If you're new to the stream, this was my walk into the studio tonight. This is my studio after dark, so I had a bite to eat, then came back across, and all the lights were on, so I thought I'll just take the camera out and just film. We've got the laundry there as well. So this is the downstairs area where we had a class at the weekend. Bits and pieces are still in place, and some of the books that we talked about. And then upstairs to where we have our workstations for my 4 creatives. So this table is in place just now because I'm now in the middle of filming my next course, which is the enamel painting course. Yes, it's still underway. Yes, I'm still doing it, and it's taking ages, but it's going to be so worth it when it's all done. Well, let's do a live stream. So there we go. Let me just see if I can find you another video, because I was going to show you another video here, guys, if I can find it. Really about it's about it's about membership. It's about membership, because I'm really keen to kind of develop the membership part of the YouTube channel. So let me come out of that just now. This channel really is all about helping you guys, and the way that it's set up is that I'm spending more and more time doing YouTube work, and I'm really kind of leaning into it. After 40 years of being a professional stained glass artist and a conservator, I'm moving into kind of teaching and passing on the skills that I've learned to the next generation. So I'm spending more and more time, you know, researching for videos, going to different places and filming and interviews and things like this. So I'm trying to kind of supplement my income as much as possible, because I'm not doing so much stained glass work. I'm doing more social media work. So your help along the way is really, you know, it really helps. So if you can become a channel member, that is one way to help me. Obviously, I get income from my online courses and things like that, and a little bit from advertising, but it's a kind of a bit of a keeping different spinning plates going, and one of them is the channel membership. So I'm really keen to kind of encourage you guys to become channel members if you can. So there's something else that I need to be able to do today, and I can't remember how to do it. It is oh yeah, it's a giveaway. I think it's, what is it? It's the members only live. No. How do I do this? I can give away membership, basically. I'm just trying to remember how I do this exactly. I can give away 10 membership places. How the heck do I do that? I did it like a few weeks ago where I gave away a number of spots. How do I do this? Membership gifting. Yes, I found out how I can do it. So basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to send gift memberships to 10 people who are on chat today. So we'll do this in a little while. We've got quite a few people in chat at the moment. So I'm going to gift a month's free membership to 10 people who are on chat today. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to play a video. Actually, I'm going to send 5 after this video. I'm going to send 5 memberships out to 5 members here on the chat after I play this video. Now this video really is an example of the members only videos. So if you become a member, you basically get private videos that are just members only content. So sometimes there'll just be a chat. Sometimes there'll just be a conversation letting you know what I'm up to, what's on the bench. Sometimes I'll be asking you specific questions about how we move forward with the channel, what it is that you want to learn. Sometimes it'll just be a more in-depth video about a certain process that doesn't go onto the main YouTube channel because maybe it's too long or it's too in-depth. So really these kind of members only videos are there as a bonus for you guys and as a thank you for supporting me along the way. So I'm going to show you this video in a second. And then I'm going to give away 5 free memberships after this video. And yeah, please keep sending messages in chat because we'll come back on after this video finishes, and then we'll keep talking. But this is just a little taster of what the members only content is like, hopefully to try and encourage you to become a channel member and help us reach more people to develop this whole worldwide audience. Here we go. Morning, channel members. Hope you're well. Good morning. Well, maybe it's not morning for you, but it is for me. Just making my first cup of coffee of the day. Thought I'd post this video, which is a deep dive on using oils to paint graduated tones. We're featuring the skull that I showed on my live stream. So we've done all the sgraffito work and fired that in the kiln. But I wanted to give you guys a deep dive into the whole process of kind of working with oils and the fact that you can mix them with water to get these lovely gradiated tones. It's a really nice process. And by the way, please do drop comments below this video for any future videos that you would like me to make. I'm very keen to try and give you guys the best value that I can. So just let me know. You know, this channel really is for you guys, and I really appreciate all the support that you give me in helping us to grow our creative community. Enjoy the video. Bye for now. So let's now look at adding another layer of shading to our sgraffito skull here. And today we're going to be adding a little bit of tracing black, which is the original tracing black that we used to create our first sgraffito layer. I'm going to put my gloves on as well, because I'm now recommending that everyone who's working with paints, glass paints, whether they're lead free or leaded, wears gloves just as an added layer of protection to stop paint resting on the skin surface for a period of time. If you're painting with oils, then it will be absorbed into your skin much more easily than it will be with water. Today we are just using water, but there again, it's always better to be safe and wear gloves. And today we're using this Roche medium here, which is an oil-like liquid. It's actually a water-soluble paint medium, so it's completely misnamed as being a Roche oil. That's the trade name, Roche oils, but in actual fact it is a water-based paint medium. And we just need a very small amount that we're going to add to a bowl. Just the smallest amount. You don't really need very much. And we're going to use a method of adding water and oil to our paint in order to create the right level of transparency, and that's really what we're going for here, is a transparent layer. We've mixed our paint up here, and to this we're also now going to add some oil, some Roche oil medium. So what we're doing is, you can see the paint changes its consistency. It becomes much more gloopy and oil-like. Now the advantage of using an oil is that it doesn't dry. The paint doesn't dry very quickly. It allows us to push the paint around the surface of the glass for a lot longer periods of time. And then we're just going to begin applying little areas to our design here. Again, let's just make this more transparent. I'm just playing with the translucency to get it just right before I start applying lots of it. So again, you can see I'm just adding shading to various parts of the design. And then we're going to badger this down. We're going to actually use a small badger brush, and we're going to add a level of transition in the gradation of tone, which we can do easily with this particular paint, which is lovely to work with. So I'm moving, sort of just generally creating shadowy areas that are not too detailed just yet, but I'm going to kind of increase the level of detail as we work our way through it, but you can see here we're just adding various bits and pieces to it. So we're also now going to use our badger brush. This is a much smaller badger brush here to create a feathered, much more of a feathered effect here. So this allows us to really blend our blend our paints in. You can see here it's now becoming this lovely sort of translucent layer. And not worrying too much about going over areas that I don't necessarily want to cover entirely, because I can pull this paint back. It does, as I say, stay wet for quite a period of time. And I'm talking like hours and days. It will stay tacky for quite a long period of time, allowing you to play with it, just creating various tones. So we're also going to use our little Q-tips here to lift out areas. So say for example around the eye socket I want to lift the paint away. I'm going to lift that paint out of those areas here. Around here is lifted out again. You go through quite a few of these tips because these Q-tips do get quite soggy with paint quite quickly, but it allows me to kind of really control this paint. You can see here I'm lightening up this areas around the brow, and again around the flower. Just softening it down quite a lot. There's a highlight in here that I want to lift out, and around here. So because it's an oil, we have lots of time to play with this to get it just working in the way that we want it to work. Let's work into the flower areas now. This paint is going to stay malleable for quite a period of time, allowing us to really create subtle changes in tonal value. The advantage of using this oil as well is that the quality of the shading is very much more subtle than it might be, for example, with stippling. So we're able to get a much more graduated tone, a much more graduated tonal change. So there we have it. Our skull is ready to pop back into the kiln for this second firing layer before we start to colorize the image. So there we go, guys. That's a sample of the kind of members only videos that we have, which is just a little bit more of a deep dive into a process or a technique or a method. And really, I just want to try and give, extra content to channel members as a thank you for the support that you give to me. It's so much appreciated and it helps us to create more content. So let's do our giveaway. So I can give, I've got a little button here that I can press which says send gift members free of charge. You have 10 gift memberships left to send this month, so I can send 5 today. 5 free gifts. So it's random. So whoever's in the chat just now, you may get it, you may not. I don't know. It's not up to me. It's kind of like a, I don't know how YouTube decides on it, but let me just press that button now, and then it'll tell me who's going to be our new members for the next month. Here we go, guys. So Cincinnati Drew, congratulations, you've received a membership. And Marianne Bradshaw has received a membership for this month. David Richards has also received free membership this month. AM869 has received the gift of a free membership this month. And Stu Hazeman has received free membership. Congratulations, guys. Welcome on board. You're now members of the Stained Glass Members Club here on my channel for the next month. Welcome on board. I hope you enjoy the content. There's different availabilities of content for you, so do a dive in, have a look, see what you find, and it's wonderful that you're joining us this week, and thank you for being part of the live stream as well today. So yeah, we're going to be doing another, I wonder if I could send another 5. Can I send another 5? You're right. Tegan, it's nearly the end of the month. You're absolutely right. Why don't I see if I can do... How do I do this? Oh no, I've done the wrong thing. Membership gifting. Can I do it again? Yes, I can. All right, guys. Well, let's do it again. Let's send another 5 free memberships out this month. You ready? Good luck. Here we go. Here we go. So Rice 8U88L3 has received a free month membership. Corinne Sivish has received a membership. Corinne, welcome. Ryan L has received free membership. Jin T has received a membership, and Aiden O'Shea. Congratulations, guys. 10 new members in the channel today. Welcome on board. I hope you enjoy your membership for the month. It's fantastic that you're part of us all. Vicky Graham says congratulations. Welcome, says Janice as well. Fantastic, guys. Yeah, the membership is really kind of a little bonus for you guys and for the supporting the channel, which I very, very much appreciate. So it's the little things I can give back to you along the way, as well as the free content and all that good stuff as well. So I did see some questions. I want to go back to those questions. So Julie says, what is the best consistency of lead putty? Sometimes I get it too thick and it's difficult to clean off, and then sometimes it's too runny and winds its way onto the other side. Ugh. Yeah, so getting the consistency of the putty is important. I'm presuming that you buy ready-made putty, Julie. Let me know if you make it yourself. Most people don't make it themselves. I did for a few years make putty myself, and people occasionally get in contact with me and say, what is the putty recipes? And I've given people the putty recipes to make their own putty, but I've personally felt I was never entirely sure that I was getting the right consistency of putty myself when I was making it myself, because I was worried that it might dry out too quickly, because putty for stained glass windows does tend to dry out, continually, and it gets drier and drier until if there's too much drying agents in the putty, it can turn back to more like a dust, and come back out of the windows. And sometimes if you've been working in stained glass for a long time, you'll discover panels where the cement has virtually all gone because maybe the putty compound wasn't a great mix to start with. So I tend to buy commercial putties. So the best consistency for the lead putty, I tend to add a little bit of white spirits to the putty mix so that it has the consistency of kefir, or like double yogurt. So it's thick but not very thick, not so gloopy thick that you can't brush it in between the glass and the lead. It's a fine balance, Julie, and you'll get used to the if it's too runny, as you say, it goes all the way through the lead and under the glass and comes out the other side. That's not really a problem because you're going to be cleaning or cementing both sides of the window anyway. So it's not the end of the world if the putty bleeds down through the panel onto the underside. But if it is too wet and too runny, it's harder to clean off and it takes longer to clean off. And also, by definition, if you've added so much white spirits to your mixture to make it that runny, you might inadvertently be making the cement weaker by making it dry out too much or too quickly and not have enough body, not enough structural substance to it. So I'm giving you a very kind of round the houses answer to say that essentially think in terms of like a yogurt, you know, a yogurt mixture that's not a set yogurt, but is a runny yogurt. So it's kind of gloopy. And if you were to pour it, if you were to tip your container up, it would slowly kind of drip out of the container. It wouldn't stay in the container as a solid lump. There would be a certain amount of fluidity to it and a certain amount of viscosity that allows you to push with a brush the cement in between the glass and the lead. Some people cement by hand and they wear gloves and they just push the cement in. I don't recommend that method unless it's very small scale. If you're doing small scale pieces, then basically you can just buy some putty, some regular glazing putty from a local hardware store and darken it down with something like boot polish or stove polish or grate polish, which often comes in a tube, and you can scoosh a little bit like a toothpaste tube. You can scoosh a little bit into your putty mix if you're wearing gloves, and you can sort of darken the putty down. Then you can push it in by hand. And I put a video out about 2 months ago called Crazy Glass, which talked about the devitrification of glass, that glass actually crumbles. It's called green glass disease. So have a look at Crazy Glass video, and during the course of that video I make up some black putty with some grate polish, and I show you the process of cementing by hand rather than cementing using a brush. That works fine for small panels, but if you're doing door panels or windows that are reasonable size, I would suggest that you use a brush and you have your putty of the consistency that I've described, which is kind of like double cream or yogurt consistency, so that you can brush it in between the glass and the lead easily, and then clean it off with a little bit of whiting or sawdust. Some people use sawdust, which is like a softwood sawdust rather than a hardwood sawdust, but I tend to use a bit of whiting. I hope, Julie, that answers your question. Notification says, I had a busy day today, and at this time at night I was not feeling calm, and then I landed on your live, and I loved the vibe and the sense of calmness. Well, that is fantastic to hear. We aim to keep everybody calm on this on this live stream. If you do crafts, if you do stained glass, then you kind of have a slightly sort of zen attitude towards things, and you tend to be, it's not hustle bustle, fast. It's slow. It's like slow cooking or slow food, you know? You take your time, you do it well, you have some music on, you know, and you just get into the zone. So welcome, you're now in the zone, the stained glass zone notification. So welcome on board, and I'm glad it's calming for you. It's meant to be calming. This is what working with your hands, developing skills with your hands is all about. It's about being in touch with materials, about feeling the materials and connecting with materials. As gardeners connect with the soil, as gardeners connect with plants and the land, so glass artists connect with the materials of paint and lead and solder. Maybe not hot solder, you don't want to be connecting with that, but yeah, it's definitely zen and it's definitely calming. Tegan says, that's so sweet to give away freebies. Well, it's great. YouTube gives me that option to give away freebies, 10 freebies a month. So as you say, Tegan, we're coming to the end of this month, so give them away. Give those memberships away. So I'm doing that now. And I hope everybody enjoys them. There's 10 new members, so let's enjoy the membership while you have it. You can always renew your own membership afterwards. If when the membership runs out, please continue to be a member if you feel so inclined. Tegan says, a couple of weeks ago, I was glovelessly tidying up paint while on the stream, when in fact when I learned that urine was historically used as an ingredient in glass painting. That was a wake-up call. Even if urine is no longer being used, it made me wonder what else is being used. Yeah, so maybe wearing gloves is a good idea. Definitely what I'm doing now is I have for decades painted just naked hands and with no gloves. And I tend to personally, when I'm painting, still not wear gloves because I don't actually like to wear gloves when I'm holding delicate paintbrushes and things. I like to have the feel of the brushes. I like to be able to feel the subtle, because some of the movements that you're making when you're painting are really subtle, really delicate movements. And having, rubberized gloves on or any other gloves gets in the way. Having said that, I am recommending to all of my students that they wear gloves out of an abundance of caution, because although I always recommend that people, we go through the health and safety issues of not eating food or drinking anywhere near where you're painting or making stained glass windows, and you wash your hands thoroughly before preparing food or eating food. There is always the outlying possibility that you're having glass paint that is a lead-based paint on your skin for a protracted period of time. You want to avoid that if you possibly can. So again, out of abundance of caution, I'm recommending that you wear gloves when you paint. And if you want to wear gloves when you're working with lead as well, a lot of people do wear gloves when they're working with lead. It is a personal choice, but it's certainly something that I'm recommending to do, because I think it's better to be safe than sorry. If at the end of the day you make the decision not to wear gloves, that's your decision, but make it an informed decision once you know the fact that the materials we're working with can be toxic or are toxic, and to take good precautions as you work with it. When you take the precautions and you make yourself aware of good health and safety practice around your studio, you'll be fine. Aaron says, this is an awesome channel, Derek. Aaron Thompson. I discovered you a few months ago because I had a huge stained glass project coming up and I'm an absolute beginner. Haha. I'm very excited to practice this art. Well, we are very excited that you are practicing this art. Aaron, welcome on board. Let us know how you're getting on with your huge stained glass project. Wow, this is amazing. Very exciting. So you're new to the world of stained glass, I'm taking it. Do tell us more in the chat. We'd love to hear about your journey. It's great that you're here on the stream today. Do tell us more. Tegan says, my studio trash is like 30% Q-tips. Yeah, I know. I hope they're biodegradable Q-tips, Tegan, Thunderwood Underwood says, Q-tips are very useful things. They are indeed. They are very useful things. We use them a lot in our master classes as well. Jenna says, that's an awesome video. Thank you so much, Janice. It's wonderful that you're here with us today. A channel member. Thank you for all of your support. It really does mean the world to me. Cincinnati Drew. Oh yes, sorry. These are the memberships here. It's nearly the end of the month. Tegan Lowe Rice says, congratulations to the winners. Congratulations to the winners indeed. Fantastic. Everyone, welcome on board. FDR says, concerning the question of texture of lustware, the silver stain itself is translucent, but combined with the opacity of the background, the effect is somewhere between metallic and vitreous. Really interesting answer. FDR. I'm going to have to look into more about this. Do send us any information you can through social media. You can find my links on Instagram and Facebook, and you can message me, FDR. If you have any more information you can send to me about lusterwares. The silver stain itself is translucent, you say, so I'm definitely interested. You have my attention. I'd like to know more. Do send me more information if you have the opportunity. Lucky Lex says, congratulations. Welcome, says everyone. Yeah, Jerry Z says, congratulations to all our winners. Many congratulations to you guys. Concerning the method, FDR says, again, concerning the method of lusterware, the second firing is around 600 degrees centigrade in a reducing atmosphere. So what is a reducing atmosphere? What is a reducing atmosphere? That's not a term that is used in the world of stained glass. I know that certain enamels need oxygen, and so people open their kilns or open the portholes in their kilns at certain points at certain temperatures to allow oxygen in, especially for the reds, because some of the reds can become a little brown if they don't have oxygen at certain temperatures. But I'm not quite sure what the reducing atmosphere is. I'd love to know more. Do tell us. We're all ears, FDR. HM Fan 2010 says, I'm a graphic designer by trade and have absolutely no experience with glass, stained, blown, or otherwise. I was wondering, are there dry marked colouring media like pastels, pencils, or powders? Are there any dry marking colouring media? Yeah, great question. So, I mean, there are powders. HM Fan, there are powders which we use, but we tend to mix them with a medium to make them into a paintable form. I know people have used beeswax and tallow candle and other soft ingredients to make pastels, a little bit like oil pastels. If you imagine, if you go into an art shop, you can buy oil pastels. I have seen that occasionally in the back of my tiny little brain. I can sort of remember people have made pastels out of enamels and paints, and they've used tallow candle and other waxy type substances as the carrying agent, allowing them to draw directly onto the surface of the glass. I don't know how successful it is at HM Fan 2010. I don't quite know how successful it is, but nothing specifically springs to mind about pencils and pastels generally when you're mark making on glass. It, generally speaking, is mark making using powders mixed with a medium and applied with a brush or an airbrush or screen printed. Those tend to be the ways that you apply marks to glass with the painting mediums that we use. Julie says, thank you for the recommendations. You're very welcome, Julie. Thanks for that great question. EFO Ethel says, is a barrier cream okay instead of gloves? I presume it is. Yeah, I mean, I've tried barrier creams and hate them because it makes your hands all sticky. But yeah, anything, basically, the thing that we want to try and avoid, obviously, with lead, whether the lead is in the paint or the lead is in the lead of a stained glass window, is absorbing lead through your skin. My understanding is it is quite difficult to absorb lead directly through the skin unless it is mixed with a carrying agent like an oil, for example. So a clove oil or a lavender oil facilitates the absorption of lead through the skin much more easily. So if you're doing dipping pen work, I always insist that people wear gloves for that, because the carrying agent can get in under your skin and take the lead paints with it. Less so with water and gum arabic. Having said that, I think that it's best to wear gloves, and I'm recommending that people wear gloves. I think the barrier cream would probably do the same kind of thing. It would stop the lead in the paint or the lead from the lead came getting directly in contact with your skin and reducing the likelihood of you absorbing any lead through your skin. The way that most poisons in this world of stained glass are absorbed, or toxic elements, are through dust that you're breathing in or through fumes that you're breathing in. If you're ingesting them directly into your lungs, that's again why we insist on wearing masks and having good ventilation, just to get rid of those fumes and the dust, etc. But that's a topic for another day. There's a whole host of things that we can recommend to keep you safe so that you keep enjoying this wonderful world of stained glass in a safe and healthy way. Tegan says, I don't get much paint on my hands while painting, but if I'm unpainting, like with Sgraffito, I get it everywhere. Yes, Sgraffito creates a whole load of dust because you're scratching off the painted surface. So definitely wear gloves, wear masks when you're doing that, Tegan, and also get a damp cloth and periodically wipe around your working area because you get this sort of dust around everything and it can get under the glass and you actually can't see what you're designing or scratching out clearly because there's so much dust involved. So periodically lift the glass away, tap it off to one side, collect up the dust with a damp cloth. As I say, wear that mask as well and you'll be perfectly safe. So where are we now? Tegan also says, HM Fan 2010, you can use encaustic pigments on glass that are a little bit more like pastels than regular paint, and it doesn't require a kiln. Don't know anything about that. Doesn't require a kiln? Encaustic pigments? No idea what that is. Stella says, as far as I've seen, putty is the most utilised here. I worked for a master craftsman in the field and in his restoration work, putty seemed to be the simplest to dismantle. So putty is being used in your area, your part of the world, I suppose, rather than cement, leaded light cement. That's interesting because in the UK it's 99% cement, leaded light cement that's used here in the UK. It's a long tradition of using what is the oil? Linseed oil, boiled oil, half linseed oil, half boiled linseed oil, half raw linseed oil, mixed with turpentine and white spirits and a blackening agent and some kind of drying agent. Sometimes it's Portland cement that's added to it. Sometimes it's red lead. Red lead was previously added back in the day, which again is very bad for you, or gold size. There are various drying agents that are added to leaded light cement. But that's what we use in the UK. But interesting, Stella, that you're saying putty is most utilised in Oz. Very interesting. Firing without oxygen. Yeah, FDR, you answered your question. Did I? Firing without oxygen, reduced atmosphere. Okay, yeah. So that becomes, it's not something that's used hugely in our line of work, but it is touched on from time to time where you have to open the plug holes or the bungs on your kiln to allow oxygen at certain temperatures. I can't remember exactly what they are. And then obviously reduced oxygen is then putting the bungs back in the kiln again so that the oxygen isn't added to the mix. So yeah, quite complicated methods, but interesting nevertheless. I'm still very keen, FDR, to learn more about these lusters. Petri says, reducing atmosphere here is the opposite of oxidizing, so limiting oxygen. I would imagine your gas kiln would be ideal as the flames burn up any oxygen. It's really interesting, Petri, because my gas kiln is got holes all the way around the perimeter, so it is there's oxygen getting in and out of that kiln all the time, because basically when I get up to temperature, my burners go off, and then when it reduces by 5 degrees, the burners come back on. And I imagine that there is some venting of gases and then maybe a reduction of the venting, and it may suck oxygen back into the chamber. I don't know. I'm not a chemist. I'm not a physicist of hot gases, so I can't really give an educated answer to that. But I kind of feel that there's lots of oxygen getting into the kiln throughout the process. That's why I never find any problems with the reds that I'm firing in my gas kiln. They don't really discolor. I have found occasionally the reds can go a little bit browny, more brown, if I'm firing in an electric kiln, because it's a sealed chamber, which doesn't have this exchange of gases, which I think the gas kiln does have to a larger extent, exchange of gases. But fascinating topic, but I am not a hot gas physicist, so I don't really know the mechanics of what's happening within the kiln. Janice says they sell enamel pens. I've used those. Yes, we were talking about it on the masterclass at the weekend, that there are various types of pens available which have the ability you could actually write with them, but from what I was being told, they weren't particularly good, because we were comparing those kind of pens to the dipping pens that I use on my master classes, and I think it's chalk and cheese. I think the dipping pens are far superior to those particular enamel pens, but I could be wrong. Janice, do tell us more. If you get on well with them, do let us know. Give us the brand name so that people who can look out for them and maybe try them for themselves. Petri answered it perfectly, says FDR. Well done, Petri. Thank you again so much for your contributions, both of you. Really appreciate you both coming on to chat and kind of helping us through this whole process. I love to hear other creatives bringing their knowledge to the table. This is what it's about. This is a forum where we exchange ideas together. No gatekeeping. We try and give as much good advice as we can to everyone. Jenna says it's not very translucent. Okay. Tegan says, but if you're asking about mark making, that doesn't require a kiln. There's a whole world of reverse glass painting and gilding called verre églumese. Églumese. Yeah. If you don't have to use a kiln, yeah, you're absolutely right, Tegan. There's 101 ways to make marks on glass. Absolutely. Generally speaking, I'm kind of restricting the types of pigments that I'm using to ones which are fired in a kiln, because we're thinking about applications like stained glass for public buildings, for churches, etc. You can't really use cold enamels. You can't really use non-fired pigments on that glass surface because it doesn't last very long. Linseed oil putty, says Stella. Yeah, linseed oil putty. Okay, linseed oil putty. Yeah, absolutely. Standard linseed oil putty is perfect. I mean, we use with the leaded light cement, it's a version of linseed oil putty, but it's not as thick and dense as regular putty. It's definitely much more gloopy. Thunderwood Underwood says, Tegan, are the verre églumese paints translucent? Could they be used for glass painting by us kilnless folk? Yeah, interesting to know. I mean, I do get questions a lot about the different types of pigments that are used and whether we can use alternatives to kiln-fired pigments. I tend to kind of steer people away from those because they're great for playing around with colorizing glass, and if you go into Amazon you can find what are called stained glass paints, but they're basically just cold enamels, a little bit like Umbro paints or Airfix paints that are used for model airplanes. You know, you can paint these paints on that are cold enamels, and they dry out in the air, and you can paint those kind of things onto glass, and they'll last for a while, but eventually they will flake off, and they won't be particularly permanent. So I don't feel that there's a great deal of use in recommending those types of paints for glass. HM Fan 2010 says, Janice and Tegan, thanks. I'm learning a lot just by being here. Well, it's fantastic that you're here, all of you. This is now 10 o'clock at night. We've been going since 8:30. I think I'm going to wrap it up for today, guys. Thank you so much for joining me on this wonderful live stream. I've loved every minute of it. I hope you have. Please smash that like button if you go onto the main channel page and like this video. It tells the algorithm that this is good, valuable information for the stained glass community. There's like buttons on the channel which I would love you to press to just tell YouTube that we want this information to go to as wide an audience as we can. Thanks again so much to everybody for joining us today. Oh, Tegan says, from what I've seen, they aren't transparent. There's some craft transparent glass paints, but what I'm thinking of is more like signwriter's paint. Yeah, absolutely. Cold enamels, Tegan, signwriter's paint. There's loads of those kind of paints on the market. And they're good for reverse painting on glass and for mirror work, etc. if you're working with mirrors and things like that. But yeah, we're looking for something that's a little bit more permanent. The glass art that we're making lasts for centuries. That's the yardstick that I'm judging the paints by. Thanks so much, everybody. Petri says reverse glass painting, so you paint on the back of the glass, yeah, and then use gold leaf on top of the paintwork. I use traditional glass paints for verre eglumisé. Okay, great. Thanks to everybody. Thanks to everybody for joining the channel today. I'm going to sign off now. Thanks so much for being part of this wonderful community, and I will see you again next week. Bye for now.